Hello everyone, thanks for joining my channel RP Guru Tech Talk. This is Renu Prasad. Today I'm going to talk about an awesome software called Open Broadcaster Software. It's OBS Studio, which is a free and open source software for video recording and live streaming. Um, and I'm going to walk you through how to download this software, install it, and start using it for your recordings. So I have a Windows 10 laptop, so I'm going to install the Windows version of it. I'm going to click on that, and it started downloading. By the way, I'm recording this with Zoom because I had uninstalled OBS to show you from scratch how to install OBS and use it. So my current recording is in Zoom. I'm going to open the file. It just got downloaded. Say yes. Hit next. It's going to install it in C program files. That's good. So it's installing. Should be quick. So when I first started planning to record my videos for my YouTube channel, I was a little overwhelmed and with the information for OBS because OBS has so many good features that there was so much information out there, which basically it was pretty intimidating for me because I was not sure um, if it was, I mean, I could really start using it without too much of knowledge. Um, so what I did was, so I thought of creating a video for you so that you can start using OBS right away with some basic setups and basic recording setups, which would help you get moving right away. So rather than so when I was a little intimidated by the information I was looking at, I thought of doing my recordings with Zoom. I was not really happy with the Zoom recordings, but I had no choice. So my first couple of videos were through Zoom. So now let's go back, but today I'm using Zoom again because I don't have OBS in place yet. So let's start off. So I installed OBS now, and when I open OBS for the first time, it will show me an auto configuration wizard. There are options. The default option, it says optimize for streaming recording is secondary, but for me, I just want to use this for recording for this demo purposes. So I'm going to say optimize just for recording. I will not be streaming. So hit next, and then you could change this to you can use current or 1920 by 1080, and I would use 30 frames per second, which is more clear and better to use for all kind of recordings. And hit next, and say apply settings. So if you see it shows me a blank screen, and for the next steps I would want to do some basic settings. So click on settings on the bottom right. It pops up the screen, so you don't have to worry about changing any of these settings for now till you get more familiar with OBS and you want to play around with these setups for your recording. For the but for the basic setup, uh, settings these settings are good enough for my basic usage of OBS for my recording. So I will leave them as is. Um, I want to use my phone recorder for my audio, so I'm not going to use the audio setup any of the audio setups here. Not going to change that. For my video setups, I'm going to change that to if you see the canvas is 1920 by 1080. I can change this to 1920 by 1082. I can make that there and leave the frames per second as it is. So I hit apply. Now let me go uh, to the output. So my output, you can leave the defaults as it is. You don't have to worry about changing any of that for the first time. Maybe once you're more familiar with the OBS setups, you can make these changes in a what would be useful for you. But for now, leave them as is. And you want to save the recordings at a certain location. So I would, um, for me, I'm going to go and place the location of my recordings in my, I have a folder called YouTube. So I'm going to select this folder and hit apply. So my basic settings are set up, complete. So now I say OK. So if you see it on the left side of the screen, there is something called scenes. Scenes are like pages. I mean, you want to toggle between scenes depending on what kind of recordings you're going to do. So for now, let's start with let's say I want to show a full video of me talking. So I would add my first scene. I would call it full camera, let's say for instance, and I hit that. I don't need the default scene which was created when I opened this, so I can delete that. I can just place the cursor there and hit delete button. So I have one scene. For this scene, I want to add a source for the scene. So I just say plus here and video capture device. Just leave the name as it is and say OK. I'm going to say which is, I'm going to pick the laptop's inbuilt webcam. So I say OK on that. So I'm all set, but yeah, you don't see a video yet because there's a conflict between my Zoom video and the back camera is being used by Zoom video, which I'm recording this for, and it's not showing my video yet. But I will show you in my next video how to do the setups required to make this work. So now, if let's say we were using the laptop's microphone, in that scenario, you would want to add an audio input capture. So just say audio and just say OK. And you want to use the microphone of the laptop and say OK. Now you have your full camera scene set up. Now I want to use one more type of scene called, let's say, full screen, right? Where you don't want any video of your face in the picture, but you want to show your laptop or browser, the full screen showing all the laptop, desktop kind of a thing. So it's a full screen, and for this I would add a source, which is basically the display capture. You would say display capture, leave the name as is, and say OK. So if you see, it's you want to change the capture method, as you could put it as Windows 10, the standard one, and the display is the primary monitor. So this is your laptop's monitor is what's going to be displayed when you use this scene. Once this is done, hit OK, and you want so in this scene you also want the audio. So if you wanted to use your laptop's microphone, just add the, you don't have to create a new one, you just use the existing one which you just added to the full camera um, setup. So say add existing, pick audio input capture and say OK. So my display, the full screen capture scene is set up. Now let me add one more where I want to not only show my laptop or desktop screen, but I also want my picture over here, the video of my face here. So in that scenario, I want to add one more scene. I'll call it screen and me. Let's say add screen and myself, for instance. So basically, it's a blend of the actual desktop or laptop screen and also my video in the scene. So I say screen and myself. I add that. So now I want to add Uh, you have to add your video capture device, which is your camera. So you don't have to recreate it. Just use the existing one which we created for full camera, and also add the display capture, which is the desktop or the laptop screens. You don't have to create a new one. You just use the existing one. And also you want to add the audio, right? So which was, we can use the existing setup we just did and say okay. If you see, this is my setups are done. I will have three scenes. I can keep switching. If I do full camera, this will show my full video. If I use my full screen, it'll only show this desktop or laptop screen. And if I click on this scene, it'll show the screen. Today you don't see it there. I'll show it in my next video how that setup looks like. You'll see a screen, and you would want to put your um, thumbnail kind of a video at the right corner of the screen while you're talking and showing things on the screen. So my three scenes are setups, but to keep switching between these scenes, you want to uh, you have to come back to OBS. So I don't want to do that. So the other thing I want to, if I'm switching between scenes, I would want to make it a little more sophisticated. I just say add fade to color and just take the default name, and I would just probably use the default color just for now. So everything is set up. Now the question is, I don't want to come back to OBS, go to my browser here and come back to OBS to keep switching between these scenes. So I want something while I'm recording, I want to be able to keep switching between these scenes without having the need to come back to the OBS screen. So for that, go back to settings. So I want to create some hotkeys where if I use the hotkeys, I'll be able to switch between scenes as well as start recording. So let's say for recording, I would want to create a hotkey. So let's say I want to use Alt R. So hold the Alt key and the R together. So it actually associates Alt R with start recording. For stopping the recording, you also want to use Alt R, which is useful both ways. When you toggle, it either starts recording if it's already stopped, or it'll stop recording if this the video recording has started. So that is one of the keys. The other thing is this, if you scroll down to the next part of the screen, there are three scenes which are visible to you. Um, the ones which we want, which we just created these setups, right? You have a full camera, you have a full screen, and screen and myself. So for this one, let's say I want to use Alt 1 as the hotkey to switch to full camera, and for full screen I want to use Alt 2, and for screen and myself I want to use Alt 3. You hit apply and we are all set. So if you see, let me place a cursor here, right? It's full camera, and I hit Alt 2. So it has switched to the full screen. If I hit Alt 3, it's switched to screen and myself. So this is the basic setup you need. And then in my next video, I'll share more details of some more setups for after using these. And in that video, I will show you my actual video camera being used by OBS, so that you're more familiar with what's going on. For now, thank you for watching this video. Please subscribe to my channel for more videos, and look forward to talking to you soon. Thank you so much. So now we have set up the three scenes in OBS. So I have a full camera, a full screen, and screen and myself. So if I go to my desktop, my full camera is showing my actually, if you let's go back. So if you see, a screen and myself is showing the browser and me, my video at the bottom of the screen. If I do Alt 2, it is showing only the screen. Um, and if I do Alt 1, it is showing my video, right? So now one more thing you want to see is if you see, I'm actually the background of where I'm sitting displays the details of my room. So we don't want to do that. So what we could do is put a virtual background so that it masks all the clutter behind you in your recording. So let's go to my full screen mode. And if you see, there is a plugin called background removal. I will share the link of this plugin. It's an OBS plugin. I will share the link in the description of the video. Go to download, and in the download you will download the, for me it's a Windows 10 related plugin, so I'm going to download the Win64 zip file. It's downloading. So if you see my download, it's already downloaded now. If I open that, there are two files, data and OBS plugin. Copy copy both of them, select both of them and do a Control C, and now go to your C program files and OBS Studio, that's where you install it. Now you don't have to worry about just place the cursor in the folder and do a Control V, which basically you're going to replace the data and OBS plugin. So just don't click on anything else, hit continue, and it's actually keep doing that till so do this, just say do this for all current items. So now I have everything in place. So now I'm going. Hello there. So we've installed OBS and we have enabled three scenes, which is a full camera, a full screen, and a screen and myself. So let's see each of those. So we have a full camera which shows me, and the background is the room I'm sitting in. So then we have a full screen which is just a screen. You will see if I open, so if I open my browser, this is what it shows. And if we go back screen and myself, you will see the actual screen and my video playing at the bottom of the screen. So for example, if I go here, you can see a browser there, and at the bottom here you can see my video. And now if you see, I had set up some hotkeys also. So I could switch from each of these scenes by using the Alt keys or the hotkeys. The hotkey I set up for full camera is Alt 1, for full screen is Alt 2, and screen and myself is Alt 3. So now I'm already in Alt 3. So if let's say I want to go back to the full camera scene, I would press Alt and 1. Now I switch to my full camera. And if I want to go to my full screen, Alt and 2, I'm in the full screen. And if I press Alt 3, it shows the full screen and my video at the bottom. So one thing, if I go back to Alt 1, if you see the background is actually the room I'm sitting in. There are times you might be having a room which is cluttered. You may not, I'm recording this at my home, so I don't have a studio or anything like that. So I would want to not show any clutter behind me. So I would prefer to show something more professional, maybe a virtual background. So let's start doing this. Let's see how to do that. So let's go to my full screen, screen and myself. So I'm there. Now I'm going to go to, let's go to the video capture, right click on that, click on filters. Now you see my video playing here. I'm going to, and there are two types of filters, audio video filters and effect filters. Let's add a audio video filter. If you remember, we installed a plugin for background removal. So if I click on this plus, I should see an option for background removal. So there you go. So we have an option to remove background removal. I click on that and let the name be there as it is. And if you see, I put a a black screen around me, and just it put it completely covered the background behind me. I could change the color here. I could make it maybe 3 hash 33FF00. So I made it green now. So let's close this and see how the video looks like. If I go back to my full camera, you can see my video has a green background, but that doesn't look great. So let's go back to my camera again. So I say video capture filters. Let's add an effect filter. So hit the plus under that, and let's take chroma key and leave the name as is. So now it looks a little better with a little grayish background. You can make changes to this section to be a little more clear. And actually, let's go back to the background removal properties. If you see the segment model, I would prefer to take the robust video matting, which is a little more clear than the other ones. So coming back to chroma key, I could manipulate this. Opacity has to be at 100%, otherwise it will mess up the setup. So I leave it at 100%, and I could manipulate all these if required. For now, I've left it at defaults, and say I close this. So if you see, my video is a little better. So now let's go click on screen and myself, and now what we do is we have a dark gray background. I want to add a virtual background, so let's do this. So in my full camera, I'll just say I hit a plus, and let me see. Actually, in my full camera, I'll add a media source, which is basically a video. Let the name be the same. I look for a background video which I created recently. I could use this and click on loop, because this is a 5 seconds video. You want to play it, you want it to repeat again and again, and also click on this so that you get a smoother load of the video. Click OK. You can actually pull this into your full camera. So the video source is here, and the media source, I'm going to pull it to my full camera. And if you see now, I have to move the media source down. So there you go. We are all set. We have a virtual background with my video. I could improve my video visibility a little better by doing some tweaking of the setups. But this is how you create a virtual background, and you're all set to start recording. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to my channel and hit the bell icon to get notifications of new videos being uploaded by me. Talk to you soon.